Uh, yeah, Julie, I'm just gonna turn the time right over to you so we can maximize this time with you. Mm, I'm really excited to learn about this. I've been telling lots of friends about it and have piqued a lot of people's interest on melding these two subjects together. So I'm very, very excited. So we'll have you just share with us.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad to be here, and especially because I was supposed to be here before, and the reason why I wasn't was my husband decided to have his little medical emergency. And anyway, we're healing well. Everything is going great with that. And so I'm really glad to get to be here tonight. And yeah, so my name is Julie Reynolds. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and co-founder of Essential Oil Nurses with Kathy. So I have been using oils for about 10 years, I think, and came into it out of a research project that I did as a nurse and just kind of learned from there, was skeptical. And I still laugh about how I thought when I don't know if you guys remember when doTERRA first came out with the emotional blends. And I thought, what in the world? Like, how do people, like, how do we know this does this? Well, I've learned a lot about chemistry, and I've learned a lot about how the oils work since then. And now it's kind of funny that I'm really almost doing, well, it's blending the chemistry. So the chemistry is really important for the oils. So I'm kind of curious with you guys, what the last oil that you used and why you used it. And then I also kind of wanted to know who here is participating in the wellness challenge as well. So you can put that in the challenge, because we might be able to kind of integrate some of the process of going into a challenge into this practice. So aroma-cognition is what I'm calling it. And this is where I'm also a nurse coach. So I do a lot of coaching, and this kind of came out of how do I blend my passion for essential oils and my passion for coaching and bring those together. And I found that the oils are a very powerful tool for really changing our thoughts. And we've all heard of intentions, and we've all heard of limiting beliefs. We talk a lot about all of that. But sometimes we can set intentions, and sometimes we can even make goals, and sometimes we borrow affirmations, and we do all of those things, and they just don't take hold the way we really hope they will. Now, sometimes it's because of every change and we don't stick with it, but sometimes it's just that it doesn't really resonate and we can't figure out what's missing. So this process hopefully will help you find out what's missing and really tailor those intentions and your goals, and bring it all together into alignment. So I'm going to look and see at the chat to see what we have here with them. So okay, so I know Kathy's using Aroma-Touch for a stiff neck. I just used lavender for heart palpitations before I got on here. I just all of a sudden started having palpitations, and that lavender really was calming. And so, and doing the challenge. Okay, it's past tense. I am not, past tense is not, I haven't I haven't used that in such a long time. It's good to remember it. So past tense for a headache. Um, Wild orange, because it's so uplifting. And so I will say that in this practice, if wild orange is a favorite of yours, it's probably one of the most commonly chosen for the people who are doing aroma coaching with me, that have chosen wild orange over and over again. And then I'm going to share two other ones that are popular. One that's kind of what might surprise you. So tonight we're going to talk about aroma cognition, what it is, and we're going to practice it a little bit. So as I talk through the next little bit about what aroma cognition is, I want you to be thinking about what you are facing, maybe an obstacle that you're facing, or if you're getting ready to do the challenge, what kind of thoughts you've had with that, and maybe what you're already using oils for, what problems you're already solving. So I'm going to share my screen so I don't talk too long about this will keep me on track here. Maybe. Oh, there. All right, are we good? Okay. So aroma-cognition for the healthy mind, body, and spirit, it all comes together. We all know that that it's all connected. So how I define aroma-cognition, first of all, why we do it is to reduce stress, to increase that focus, support the emotional and get the outcomes that we really want. You guys are all on a mission of some sort. You have dreams and visions and goals that you want to accomplish, and you have a certain way that you want to show up in the world. And that is powerful. And we all need you to do that. And every once in a while, there are obstacles that we all face, whether it be a belief or an experience or something in our way of really showing up consistently in the way that we really want to. Aroma-cognition harnesses the therapeutic properties of the essential oils to influence the cognitive processes, including memory, concentration, mood regulation, and it's just a practice that's really rooted in ancient wisdom, along with the contemporary research, and then drawing on the impacts that scents can have on the brain. Really bringing this with the olfactory sciences that we're learning more and more about that, along with what we know about our oils and what we'll talk about a little bit. So I'm just going to ask you real quick if any of these look familiar. So first of all, the challenge of limiting beliefs. So just in dealing with maybe going into making a health change or embracing the challenge. So I failed before, I'll fail again. So when you go to try something new, this is too hard for me. I don't have the energy, the time or energy. When we think about when we fear failure, we're usually fearing three different things, basically. Ruin, that everything is going to fall apart. My life is going to be over. My dreams, I'm going to have to let them go. That ruin, failure. Or we fear the process. It's going to be hard. We're going to get all excited about it. We've been through that before, and it's just going to be too hard. It's too much effort and I'm not even sure if I'm going to actually be able to pull it off. And that's that process. And then sometimes it's just the outcome. What if I don't get what I want? And what if I try this and it doesn't work out the way I want? And so then we start to self-sabotage, we procrastinate, we get stressed and overwhelmed, and all of that prevents us from showing up in the world in the way we really want to. So I found that blending something that we're really passionate about and we're confident in, this essential oils and how they work and the chemistry, and something that we can really learn, we can put science to it, we can put some rigor to it, we can know that it's fact. It almost gives that confidence to things that maybe we aren't so sure about, that are a little bit more subjective. So, that's aroma-cognition. I don't know what happened to my slides there. Let's go back and see if we can find them. Way to the end. Okay. My mouse didn't work, so I don't know, I'm at the mercy of my screen. Okay, so metacognition, and I use that, I could use a simpler word, but I think intentionality comes with language. And so metacognition is that thinking about thinking. And that involves that self-reflective thinking that is used to plan and monitor and assess the approach to learning and problem solving. And this is really unpacking, like, what are we thinking? And sometimes we don't know. And so you just have to really go through a process of that, because we know that emotions are caused by thoughts. Thoughts cause emotions, emotions cause behaviors, and behaviors give us the outcomes that we want. So there's all that process, and it is the same every way. Emotions don't cause thoughts, it's thoughts cause emotions. So we really need to think about our thinking. And there's a lot of times when we think about how we're feeling and we try to fix that, we can't really fix how we're feeling, or I don't know, sometimes you don't have to fix how you're feeling. Feelings are just signals, right? They're teachers. And so but we do need to trace it back to what the thought is. And maybe there's a thought that you would rather have, a thought that serves you better than the thought you're having, and you weren't even aware of it. So by unpacking that, by really thinking about our thinking, we can change our thoughts, choose the thoughts that we want to have, because honestly, thoughts come at us, hundreds of thousands of thoughts every day, and they just come at us, and we can't control that, but we can back up on the things when we start to feel something and it starts to cause us to act in a certain way. So maybe it's, for example, somebody looks at you a certain way at work, or maybe it's your kids, and you decide what they're thinking, or what they are thinking and what their intention is. You decide that they're mad at you. And we don't know that that's true, but when we decide that they're mad at us, or we did something to make them mad, we act in a certain way. We might ignore them. We might lash out at them. We might do a lot of things that we wouldn't have done otherwise if we didn't think that that person is mad at us. So, and maybe that's not true at all. So it's going back to like, what did I was thinking that you were mad at me, or that person is mad at me, and I don't know that to be true. So we make up those stories that cause the emotions, that read the behaviors that lead to the outcome. So thinking about thinking will help us prevent that, stop it, and go back and choose thoughts that we that serve us better, or that we can investigate and see, are they really true? Are we operating, are we showing up in the world in a way that's based on truth and aligned with our hearts and our values and the way we want to show up? So that's metacognition. Did it again. You guys get a little preview there. Okay, so and then aroma. Aroma, those smells are processed by the olfactory bulb, and this is where that olfactory science comes in, when we can know what's actually happening here. That structure in the front of the brain that sends that information to the other areas of the bodies, that central command for further processing. We can engage the prefrontal cortex by doing a lot, by thinking about thinking, and then applying using these aromas to really anchor in those thoughts. Now, odors take that direct route to the limbic system, including the amygdala and the hippocampus, those regions that are related to emotion and memory. And so that's where we can usually really use this science to anchor into some of those thoughts and condition our brain to think things on automatic. So when I was saying the intentions maybe sometimes don't really take hold, this is a way we can get them to take hold. So we choose the thought that we want to think, and then we anchor it to an aroma, and then pretty soon we're smelling wild orange and thinking the thought that we wanted to think without having to really process it. It just comes on a default mode. All right.
I got it now.
I think I've got my cursor. So aroma-cognition is that bringing that together, the using the power of aroma for enhancing our ability to retain information and improve focus, boosting our cognitive function, and optimizing our potential. And doesn't that sound like a lovely idea? So this is a quote from one of the research articles that I pulled from olfactory science, and just really looking at how essential oils affect the nervous system. And this really highlights the direct connection between aromas and our brain, particularly for the limbic system, which is involved in those emotions. And in this case, memory. This is going to help us with memory as well, and influencing our mood, our receptivity to some of the even just being able to access those thoughts and to be courageous enough to go on that journey. And then it emphasizes also the significance of aromas in shaping our physical and our emotional health. And so I think it's why we love essential oils, because we have the science, and we know that how they affect us. So I'm kind of wondering what essential oils that you use already to help with mood and enhancement, and what oils are coming to mind when I'm talking about this before we get into any talking about a set of particular oils. You just put it in the chat or unmute and say.
I feel like I use wild orange every day. So like every day. It's my oil that. And I feel like September 1st, sometimes they wait until October, but literally September 1st, I have a date before.
You use what?
So
You
those
put
are
the
like my
whole
favorite.
event. I think
Holiday
she
joy.
likes the holiday joy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but like wild orange is like, it's like one of my staples. I go through like 5 or 6 bottles every month. So I feel like it's just, yeah, it's like happiness. So
Yeah, it's one of those oils that goes with everything too. So you can always balance.
yes,
Yeah. So
yes.
Yeah, okay, so in the chat too, people are saying balance, like all of the citrus ones. So I'm thinking like wild orange, lemon, and bergamot, magnolia, someone said, adaptive. So that's kind of one of those new key ones. But you kind of have me on the edge of my seat, like, oh, what are the ones that like we want to think about using?
yeah, so when we do I love all of those, and it always, every time I ask that question I go, oh, I haven't used that one in a while and I need to go back and use that. All right, so let's talk about a couple oils that I see that are really common with aroma coaching and aroma cognition. And I'm just going to highlight a couple of them. There are, we have so many options. There's no wrong answer when we do this process. If you integrate aroma cognition, the process is to do an aroma audit. And really that is part of it. You just kind of did one. You kind of thought about the oils and the scents and the aroma and how it affects you, and what you already use. So the aroma audit would be taken about 24 hours maybe, or maybe a week, whatever you wanted to do, and just noticing the aromas in your environment, what oils you gravitate towards, how they make you feel, what ones that you use in different situations. And so I've had some people actually select coffee as their aroma, because coffee is one of those things that in the workplace, especially, well, not even especially, in the home, everywhere you go, the coffee aroma is a really frequent aroma that we encounter. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But I would say bergamot, I got started on this because of Earl Grey tea and being able to, I was on a little kick with that, and then just adding the bergamot to it. But bergamot is a really amazing oil because of the balanced chemistry, the limonene and the linyl acetate, the linalool. You get the uplifting of the citrus oils, you get the calming. Those esters in this is the ester content is really high, and anytime that you get that really calming sense. Bergamot I just think is an amazing chemistry. It's known as the oil of self-acceptance, and its uplifting properties that just help relieve any self-judgment and low self-esteem. Anytime that you're setting a goal and you're feeling like, I just don't think I can do it. Now, sometimes when we set the goal, we're excited and we don't know that we're actually have that thought running and playing in the background. I'd like to call those soundtracks, because there's like the soundtracks that you have from your childhood even, that just play and play and play. And every once in a while you can hear them and they come to mind in the forefront. And then sometimes they're just playing in the background and you don't even recognize it. So that's where we're going to get at with this process. And bergamot is one of those that can help us do that. It calms everything down. It uplifts, gives that little bit of support. And then I put the therapeutic properties of bergamot on here on the screen because I think it's really cool when you're using some of these processes and you're working through some things that seem like more the emotional side or the thinking side or the goal setting side, that you're also getting these physical benefits. So if you wanted to have a restful night's sleep, if you were dealing with something that, neck tension or anything like that, you could cardiovascular function, really good for that. So a lot of aids digestion. So there's a lot of things that bergamot brings to you along with that. So I won't go into all of that as much as I would love to. do more. Coffee, I already said, I don't know anything about the sourcing of an essential oil, a coffee. I know there are companies that carry an oil. I ordered one on Amazon just to see what it would smell like. I have no idea like about the purity or the sourcing of coffee oil. It really came up because coffee is an aroma that kept surfacing. But coffee, using it in from inadequate to worthy. It does have some antioxidant benefits, some anti-aging, some weight loss promotion, some anti-inflammatory properties. If you look it up, there are some things that are very, you can kind of hold on to. But I think you'll understand. So when you unpack that, think the thought that you want to think, smell the coffee. Imagine if if your thought was, I am my greatest asset. I can figure things out. I can do hard things. And every time somebody brewed a cup of coffee, whether you drink it or not, every time you smelled coffee, that thought automatically popped into your head. That's what you're going for. So, cilantro. So I was, you could chop a cilantro for your salad. Sometimes we get it in our salads or in our dishes when we are out to eat. So it was one that kept popping up as far as the herbs. And one for me that I noticed was really when I did my aroma audit and started using this for, it was actually this: I trust the flow of life and I release the need for control. And that limiting belief was I have to control everything to be safe. And that just being able to accept the flow of life and to just apply that and to smell it and to meditate with it was very powerful. Cilantro has one of those chemistries also that is can be very relaxing, and it has about 13 to 16% linalool content. So it is very relaxing, and but it also is very soothing for the skin. It calms the anxious feelings. And that's that decanol, I think, is the primary constituent. And that is known for also reducing anxious feelings. So this is what that would look like as an aroma-cognition protocol. Is just breathing that cilantro in, and I trust the flow of life, and I release the need for control. So hopefully you're getting the picture of it and you're starting to think some of the things, and you're ready to raise your hand and volunteer. Oh, I'm off this isn't what I want to do. This isn't what I want to do either. I went to the end again. All right, let's see. All right, so I want to ask you guys if any of these look familiar to you. You already saw this slide, and hopefully it just kind of got things started. And I was kind of wondering if somebody would want to volunteer to kind of go through this process, and then I can just kind of walk you through, just so you know what that looks like. Is we will identify an obstacle, getting to your dreams or showing up the way you want, kind of the way is possible. And then what is the thought that needs to be replaced? What is that thought that will serve you? What is true? We can work through that, and then work with the chosen aroma. You use that to anchor or trigger that empowering truth with the intention of the power of aroma. So sometimes this is really hard. This is kind of a hard thing. Like, we do it in coaching. And so I usually have that, that ability to just slow the process down and go through that metacognition and through that process. So I'd love to do that with, if somebody wants to volunteer, and we could just see what happens, see where it takes us. Anybody want to volunteer? Is that bar right? Can you guys see that bar? There we go.
Oh, okay. Now I've seen it, I think. I want to give other people opportunity to volunteer, but I'm also always game to be the guinea pig and try to continue self-development. Because I think it's powerful. I have seen coaching before, and I think it's powerful even if you're not the one being coached to see coaching happening because it it brings up things for yourself.
Mhm.
That's what I
Yeah.
think. So does someone else, well, I'll give you a second to think and feel like be brave. It's really not as scary as you're maybe thinking that it is if you've never been coached.
For those of you who are watching the recording, I'm happy to provide my contact information. You can reach out to me, Messenger or whatever, and I could do probably a 20-minute, maybe a little coaching session, aroma coaching session. If you're curious on how this would, if you really wished you would have been here live so you could do this, so you could raise your hand and be a volunteer. So just reach out. I'm happy to do that. I love doing this. So
That's awesome. That's super generous.
did anybody raise their hand? I didn't see.
I didn't see anybody. Maybe
Okay. Well, it's you. You're up.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
All right. So do you already have like something that you'd like to focus on?
Oh my goodness. It's just a matter of picking the thing that um I feel like a couple areas of limiting belief for me. One is around, this is funny, but one's around the weather. Like I was already talking about, like it's getting colder. So I'm like anticipating how I'm going to hate this and it's going to be terrible and awful and all these things. um, from, previous experiences of not enjoying winter. Um, so I don't know, maybe that's not as much about me, but that could be one.
Yeah, I
And
mean, it is a great that if you wanted to focus on that, it would be a great, I mean, that because that's going to affect you all winter. So,
okay, let's just focus on that one. Let's go there.
okay. Okay. All right. So when you think about winter, what are you really, how do you know when you're thinking about it, how does it feeling in your body?
I like there's a sense of like anticipation of like this is gonna be awful, like dread, but like in my body, I'm trying to think of how that feels. Maybe like a little heavy on my shoulders.
Yeah, you've made a face when you said winter.
Yeah.
Did you feel it? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, winter. Oh.
So what is when that feeling, even just what is the thought? Like what is it that you dread about winter?
Cold. I hate being cold and I just hate winter. Like
Okay.
I think for me there's I have seasonal depression that comes in the winter. And so there's like, I'm not gonna be myself. I'm like I'm not gonna be productive and it's gonna take me so long to like pull out. So that's where my brain goes, is like this is gonna be awful. But I feel like my thoughts are also making it worse because it's like it's starting sooner, like with just my thoughts.
Mhm. Yeah. So what would you say is the fact, non-disputable fact about this whole season? You've shared a lot of the thoughts. What do you think is the fact, your circumstance that nobody would dispute?
I'm trying to come up with one. I'm just thinking like facts were like the weather is this temperature outside. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the weather is this temperature, it's cold.
yeah, the like the weather will drop below, we'll go to freezing during this winter season. The weather,
Mhm.
we'll have cloudy days. We'll have I don't know. I don't even think it like facts could be like that I experience like seasonal depression. Like I'm like, I don't know how we prove that necessarily. There's no blood test for it. So
Yeah. So the facts, the things that you know, is that it's cold and it's cloudy.
mhm.
And then your thoughts about it are what? You kind of already shared that. I know,
Yeah,
but
I hate the cold. I hate cloudy. I just want to see the sun and I want to go play outside.
okay. So it's cold and it's cloudy. It's dark. Oh, I added that.
Do you
Sorry.
have thoughts about winter too, Julie?
What'd you say about coaching? It helps everyone.
Mhm.
Okay. And you hate the cold. You hate being cold.
Yes.
What else did you say? Um,
Yeah, I miss nature. I miss being outside. I try to go for a walk every day, but it's like sometimes that feels like counterproductive because then I'm like freezing cold. I need to go sit in like a bathtub to warm up afterwards. Like
uh Okay.
this
Fact
is
is,
the
it's
most
cold and it's
exciting
cloudy.
subject.
Your yeah. Your thoughts about it is you hate the cold. You hate the that you miss nature because you don't want to be out in the cold.
Yeah,
But nature's still there.
yeah.
All right. And then the other thing that you said earlier was I heard you say that you're not going to be productive and you are not going to be yourself.
Yeah.
And so those are all thoughts that you have about the cold and about the cloudy, about the weather.
Mhm.
Are those true?
No, I mean, the truth is, yeah, I cry during the winter a lot more. That's just part of, I guess, me during the winter time. I just don't like that part of me during the winter time.
Yeah, and that's totally okay. What thought would you like to have about the winter?
I don't know. I tried on like, this is gonna be an opportunity to like read more indoors, or this is gonna be fun. Like, we'll do some outdoor something. I feel like I haven't landed on any thoughts that are like helpful, which is why I keep planning trips during the winter. So maybe I can just look forward to trips.
That is one thing, but so that you aren't going to be productive and you're not going to be yourself
Mhm. I don't
and
like those
missing
thoughts.
nature, are
Yeah.
those things true?
No, I mean, they're not facts. They're not anything that we can prove.
So some of it, I mean, you are inside more because it's colder. You don't like being cold, and that doesn't, you don't have to change that. But what thought would you like to have about winter? I think let's go back. You kind of were touching on some thoughts that you'd rather have. They don't have to feel true right now.
Yeah. Well, one nice thing about winter is I do a lot more like artwork that I really love. I really don't do art at all during the summertime because I just am outside so much. So I feel like I could lean more into that, like that I'm more artistic in the wintertime this is a time to kind of reconnect with that.
Okay. So you could reconnect with your art. What else?
Oh, do you guys have good thoughts about winter? Everybody else? Put your happy winter thoughts in for me.
Making snowmen,
Maybe,
drinking hot chocolate with marshmallows.
okay, so this is.
I mean, here in Southern California, these are like non-options, Brittany. So ice skating, going outside and when it's snowing, try to grab a snowflake in your mouth. So as much as I love sunny California, you're always welcome here, clearly. But like happy thoughts about winter, I think like, oh, building snowman, is fun, and making snow angels.
Yeah, so maybe winter brings like new possibilities with nature.
What about like those pine cones that you can make into, didn't we do that once? Like put peanut butter all over it and put like or did I do this with Jackson? I don't remember if we did it at your house or at my house there, but we put like peanut butter all over it and then covered it in seeds, like for bird seeds, and put it outside. I also feel like outside your back window, I don't know if you still have those bird feeders where you could see the squirrels that come in, still from the birds.
Yeah, that's
But
fun.
I think of those fun things in your yard for the winter time.
Yeah, so maybe, yeah, I think nature or winter can bring new possibilities for nature.
Sledding.
Okay. I think that, yeah. So you call your California friends and you say, what should I do today?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've heard you say it a couple times that winter brings possibilities. How does that feel when you say it? Try it out again.
Yeah, winter brings possibilities. There's this part of me that's like a little intrigued, like a little like, "Oh, really?" But there's a part of me that could like believe that.
Yeah. That's the thing about when you really think about your thinking, that we tend to, you can't swing too far. Your empowering thought should not be, I love winter. I love everything about it. I mean, because that's just not going to be true. It's not going to work. It's not going to stick. Your brain is not going to believe it. And it's not going to really help you. Right. So I like that you said, I'm kind of intrigued. Now you're curious what winter could be for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that might be the good thought for me.
Okay. So what is the thought that you want to have about winter?
I think it's that like winter brings possibilities.
Okay. So with all of that, we didn't change anything. It's still cold and it's cloudy, and you don't prefer the cold and you don't have to prefer the cloudy, and it is long and you didn't have to change. We don't have to change any of that. Those are facts that we work with. And then your thought is winter brings possibilities. And how does it feel when you say, so just say that again and say like, how is that really feeling in comparison with how you feel when you think about winter otherwise?
Yeah. Winter brings possibilities. There's like an excitement to it. So definitely curious. I love being curious.
That's the best. Okay, so winter brings possibility would be your empowering thought, the thought that you're going to think. And then what do you think, what aroma would you pair up with that 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 you already kind of have in your environment, or maybe an oil that you always use? Maybe that even makes you think about winter, or or makes you think about summer. However you want to do that, there's no wrong way to go with that.
Yeah, I think the bergamot, I have it in I have a little spray topper with it, and I spray that on every morning.
Okay.
So that would be easy. It's in my bathroom. I could use it more than once a day, but I've just used it in the mornings.
Okay. So what you would do with the aroma cognition practice would be, obviously, to condition your brain, we would need to like do this probably 2-3 times a day. And you work up, if you did it for a couple minutes, even just a minute or two, and said winter brings possibility, and you inhale your bergamot. So you could do that as a breathe. I like to partner it with breath work. So you're breathing in winter brings possibilities, or your curiosity, and then you breathe out, whatever you want to breathe out. It doesn't necessarily you're breathing something else away too. It can be just the continuation of that thought, but just breathing in the bergamot and repeating to yourself, even saying it out loud, winter brings possibilities. And you can throw in, you can even embellish. It doesn't really matter as long as you start with that. And then you can kind of see where your brain takes you when you get curious, and it might be that then that will lead to, hopefully that would lead you to then thinking of all the things, the possibilities. And the next thing you know, you're sharing your snowman pictures with the rest of us.
Okay, I'll have to do that. Yeah.
So
There's
yeah, so to do that, to anchor that thought in, again, a couple times a day for a minute or two. Usually my recommendation is to take it up to like a 10-minute meditation or a 2-minute, something consistent a couple times a day. Do that for probably 2 or 3 weeks. Or it's different with everyone. And then you could see if it starts to take hold, that when you spray your bergamot, you're automatically thinking about possibilities and the curiosity that you have for this season, and that winter brings possibilities. I'm really excited to see what this winter is going to look like for you with that in mind. So
yeah, I'm excited too.
Yeah, how does all that feel?
Just so much lighter. Yeah, honestly, it's like exciting to me, and my brain's going already thinking of, different things to I'm like, oh yeah, the hot springs. I love doing hot springs when it's like snowing on you. That's the best. And we have tons of hot springs around here. And so anyway, my mind is already going in that direction now.
Nice. You're gonna have the best winter.
I hope so. I think so.
And we're all gonna put winter brings possibilities up on our walls now. So
Yeah, you struggle with winter. That could be your new thought.
yeah, because that you are definitely not alone in that, not at all. So
I know. It's a real struggle. So, well, thank you, Julie. I'm glad that I came on and was coached, because this is something I've definitely been struggling with for several years, and and I've been coached before, but not really felt like I got to a good place with it yet. So I feel this is like the lightest I've felt with it.
oh, good.
So yeah, some of my other ones were like coming to acceptance. I'm hating it.
That never works for our brains. Like, this is the biggest thing, like when we try to change something or you try to get past something, our brains are pretty clever. They know how to bring us back to to those places. And it's just really, it is fascinating that you will still have the times when you get up and you go, oh my gosh, but then you have this practice. You've chosen the thought that you want to think, and just if you stick with it, then, I mean, like I said, it doesn't change. It's cold and it's cloudy and yeah, none of the facts change.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you for being courageous and sharing that with us.
Yeah. Love that. Okay, so we've got a couple in the chat. Someone saying they're loving the exercise and thanking me for volunteering. I'll always be the guinea pig. And then is there a good resource for us to use for developing the empowering thoughts that replace our limiting beliefs? Do you have like a worksheet or anything that people might be able to work?
I have a free ebook version. I'm working on an expanded version that I'm gonna make available. It's available now. I made it too complicated, or I made it more complicated, and so now it's editing. I'm having somebody edit it so that I can take out make it a little bit more less typos, make sure it flows well. So but I do have a free ebook, and like I said, I'm happy to on one of these slides that I wasn't going to show you. I think I have so this is what it looks like to set the intention, visualize that success, reinforce those positive thoughts. We already talked about that. One of my favorite tools to use for this practice is an inhaler. I think this is in the free version of the ebook. Let's see. So if you wanted to do an aroma coaching session, we could do about 20 minutes, just get on the phone, no obligation. I do have a course and an ebook, but you can just schedule that. It's free. All right. So and just, if you want to use the QR code, if you can use the QR code to do that, or just reach out to me. And I don't have the link to the ebook, but I can send it to you. So, and the free version will get you started with that too. So
Awesome. I love it. So people can go on to that and schedule just a free chat with you.
yeah, and then I could tell you more about the book and the course that is available if you wanted to take a deeper dive. But I think this really sets us up for being able to do to self-coaching and use our oils and really optimize the use for getting to our goals and making the changes that we want to make and really showing up in the world in the way that we really want to.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Someone else is wondering if, like, can we get your slides possibly, or I don't know. You can.
Sure.
Okay.
I think my slides had very much information on them, but I'm happy to share them.
Okay, I'll connect you two together then. Because I know who's asking and I know your email, so I can. Isn't it funny?
Yeah. Do you want me to just put my email in the chat, or
Sure,
do you
yeah, pop your email in the chat, and then if anybody wants that, they can grab the slides from you. So, yeah, anybody else have any questions? I think these thoughts are like, this work is very, very powerful, and when you consistently apply it, it is really life-changing. So I think it's really helpful to have someone to walk you through. Kathy's like, hop on ChatGPT and have them be your life coach, which is an awesome free resource. I love that. But I really love having, like, Julie, the back and forth interaction, because you see things in me, right? You're like, okay, you keep bringing this thing up, so let's go that direction, where I don't even hear those things in myself, right? And you can see my body language and how, yeah, winter, right? Like,
yeah, your face when you said it even.
yes. So it's really helpful to have someone there pointing those things out to help you see things, because it's like we have blinders up to those things and we think those are truths, right? Those, are real things, rather than they're your thought about something happening in your life, about a circumstance. So I like it. I feel like, and life coach, you kind of call out some of those, that's not a fact thing. No. So
Yeah, that is a big thing. Like, we think that our thoughts are facts, and a lot of times it's just what we think about the facts, and
right.
we can't believe everything that we think.
Yes. Yes. Well, because I have a friend that loves winter. And I'm like, I've been asking, I'm like, why do you love winter? And she hates summer. because she's really hot in the summer. She feels like she can't find any clothes to wear. And I'm like, oh, interesting, because I'm feel perfect in the summertime and I love wearing all the summer clothes. I hate all the frumpy winter clothes, right? And so it was just fascinating to see we're going through the same exact thing, right? And she's like, I finally feel like the perfect temperature in the winter time. Our bodies are just kind of reacting differently to it. And we like different clothing styles and just those things. So anyway.
Yeah, but how
Oh,
cool would it, like, I just think, I'm thinking about even just how I feel about some of, like, when it's really hot and I tend not to do things that I really want to do sometimes just because it's hot.
mhm,
And why do I do that? It's just because of something that I think about how it's going to feel when I don't really know that that's true.
yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, how cool would it be if we all could love all of the seasons for the different things they bring? We don't have to love being cold. It's not about changing that. Like, cold, if you hate being cold and it doesn't feel good to you, it's just not going to feel good to you. But you could think something different about it so it doesn't hold you back, so that you can be yourself. And I love that you are saying that you were going to get reconnect with your art, and
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah, it was rainy this week, and then I spent an hour doing artwork instead of going
yeah.
out and it felt good to paint again. So, um, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being on. We've got ways to connect with Julie, so I'm super excited for that. Thank you so much, Julie, for being on
My
tonight.
pleasure.
I know a lot of people have just found this really helpful, and for a lot of people, these ideas are kind of new. Of understanding our thoughts and then pairing them with the oils. I'm really excited about that. So that's new for me, is like putting this thought work with oils, and I'll let you guys all know how it goes about winter and all the possibilities.
Yep.
So I'm super excited about that. All right, you guys, we will end for tonight. Thank you again, Julie, for being on, and everybody else for joining tonight. And I'll get the recording up in the next day or two. I'll send that to you, okay, everybody. So awesome. All right, you
Thank you,
guys.
Julie. Thanks,
All
Brittany.
right. You're welcome. It's